discussion will be moderated.
How malign narratives shape the Western Balkans. I really like the issue from since 1995, so there really is a long time. And he's been an aspect, but in others, like the media savviness in youth.
So as I said, disinformation works in layers in Kosovo, but it's not this coordinated machinery that works together. It's basically more of a machinery that exploits the same gaps within Kosovo. So as you said, the first is the domestic political actors who use this information to fight internal battles or to push their own agendas. And we have seen this, for a decade maybe now, with the whole disinformation that surrounded the association of third-majority municipalities, and how well it actually impacted the perception of Albanian community. And I think that while disinformation, for example, is a deliberate choice for these political actors, because the polarization that it produces, the fear, the confusion, it really benefits them. But disinformation goals that they have really benefit from the very weak media system that we have in place. As we know, the majority of media in Kosovo really are pushed to produce this very dramatic, emotional, and fast content. And really they sometimes don't have, and sometimes choose not to allocate the time and the resources needed to explain complex issues such as the association. And in this way, it kind of ends having very complex issues being reported in a very simplified and emotional way. And this comes on top of this trend, I think, that is that Kosovo media is kind of shifting from public interest reporting towards political spectacle. And this leaves a big gap that gets exploited by both domestic political actors, but also from external online actors that consist of the second layer of disinformation in Kosovo. So while the first layer targets mainly Kosovo Albanians, we have the second layer that are state-aligned, Serbian state-aligned media and Russian propaganda networks that kind of target Kosovo Serb community and global perception of Kosovo at large. And their narratives are well researched in Kosovo and in the region, and they portray Kosovo's institutions as illegitimate, and they portray Kosovo Serbs as under constant threat, and especially the West as being manipulative. But I think that internally, these kind of narratives take hold because we have collectively failed to create a shared factual baseline among two communities, both Albanians and Serbs. For example, we have Serbian community and Kosovo Albanian community that live in very separate information worlds that do not communicate with each other at any level. And you see, for example, you see that Kosovo Albanians and Serbs very rarely appear into each other's media outside of ethnic crisis or outside of crises that happen in the north or any other government action.
Thank you first to the organizers. I'm really happy to be here again among friends and colleagues. I didn't sense that much pessimism. Maybe I'm just happy to see so many people. So I also saw a lot of smiles and people greeting each other. So if this is a bubble, as a colleague of mine just said, it's a very nice bubble to be in. There are, I would say, there are many actors, but I don't necessarily think we talk a lot about Russia, but I really believe that this is something that we do to ourselves, in a sense. It's endemic, it's domestic, it's an ecosystem, more or less. Yes, there are fringe groups, and not fringe groups, but there are fringe actors who utilize these fairly new media, fairly new in our societies. Maybe not that new when we talk about TikTok and Telegram. And I think that Telegram is a fantastic example when it comes to informing oneself on what is taking place in Ukraine. It's really for this community of people who are interested it's probably the place to get a lot of frontline information and so on. And yes, it's information that's at times it seems very pro-Russia or in Russia's favor or originates from Russia. But I still believe that in Serbia, Russia really doesn't have to do a lot. And it's not that we are susceptible to Russian propaganda, it's simply that I think our historical experience and how in our society Russia has been perceived, it's a different story than the rest of the region, and it's a complex story and probably one we don't have time to elaborate on in this panel. However, the motivation is clear. You saw this information in order to weaken your opponents, in order to solidify your position. And right now, I think that we're actually seeing in Serbia limits of just how far this ecosystem can reach. I do not believe that it has the capability to control the narrative regarding the ongoing protest movement, if you will, because it's decentralized, it doesn't have a clear leader, it has many ways of communicating to the interested public, many accounts, to mention just one example. So one of the recent responses by pro-government or government-leaning group, or government itself, this is not something I can say with any certainty actually, was to start massively reporting Instagram accounts that were run by different faculties and different groups and faculties in order to get them offline.
Metamorphosis has been founded 21 years ago as a group of digital rights enthusiasts, but over the years we also realized that we have to work on the issue of online media, both supporting them and also analyzing them as part of our general work on digital transformation and promotion of human rights, especially freedom of expression. And in the last several years we have been working on a regional project called the Western Balkans Anti-Disinformation Hub, which has been supported by the Kingdom of the Netherlands as one of the, let's say, few pioneering initiatives across the region that initiated a new way of doing things with the underlying message that we need a whole of society approach to tackle the issue of disinformation. That's why within this project I will also share the experiences not only of Metamorphosis Foundation from North Macedonia, but also from the partners such as ISAC from Serbia, Bunker from Kosovo, Why Not from Bosnia, CDT from Montenegro, and Faktoja from Albania, and also a wider network of cooperation which also included Kosovo 2.0, because we thought that through this project we combine first fact-checking as a basic way to deal with disinformation, but because the disinformation in the region is part of a much wider phenomenon of which also includes the spreading of narratives, different types of propaganda, and especially in the last few years, foreign malign influences. We thought that we need to combine capacities of fact-checkers, mainstream journalists, investigative journalists, think tanks, analysts, and other aspects, including media monitoring, which led us to develop a database of media monitoring of suspected and then confirmed disinformation through our methodology. And in this way, we come to the conclusion that really the actual problem that we have is very, very deep, very and requires systemic solutions. So I will try to, instead of just saying the problems, I will try to come from the viewpoint of solutions, because when I say whole society approach, that implies that our societies are deeply divided. We have deep divisions within the region, between countries, within the societies. These divisions are both ethnic, religious, generational, also political, ideological, and those who perpetrate the disinformation flow, they use them all, because mostly what we have, and the other speakers discussed before, is that the disinformation threat is not so much about persuading people to do something for somebody, but to basically stop the functioning of democratic institutions, induce apathy, induce the opposite of active citizenship, and in a regional and both at national levels, to basically stop the process of European integration and also NATO integration.